Okay. Okay. So I'm going to create, this is my root directory, sorry. I was getting it in the right place, in the right operating system. So we're going to say Rails new Ruby for MySQL. Isn't that beautiful?
Do we need to do
That's
that
it.
if we're working?
If you're working, no, you don't have to do this at all. You want to follow along with this if your SQLite database, which is kind of a fake database that comes packaged with Ruby, a file system database, isn't working for you for whatever reason. You can also use MySQL or PostgreSQL or something else. Yeah, if you didn't get an error message, there's like, how do I know if it's working? It's like, okay, if Rails came up and said, yeah, you're on Rails, it connected successfully to its generated database, and you're good. Now, if you didn't, there's at least 2 or 3 people that SQLite just failed them. I couldn't tell you why. I was looking at the drivers. I have no idea why. So it's okay. Let's reroute. Let's use a database that's real, MySQL. Rails new. And I did time you a few minutes ago. It was 12 seconds. In 12 seconds, it installed all of these things, and it's back at the command line. And theoretically, if we'd use SQLite, we can go into it, cd, what did I call it? Ruby for MySQL. cd Ruby for MySQL. Okay, so normally you could just do this, Rails S. We cannot do that because when it generates a MySQL type, it doesn't make an assumption correctly about your database. So you go into, and I'm not going to open in Visual Studio Code, I'm just going to open it over here. Database YAML, that's where you have your connection string stored. So this is where, damn Mac. Okay, this is where you can say, oh, that's my root username, and assuming bound followed instructions, it would be empower1% is the name that the password that we by default said when you install MySQL, use that one. So all you have to do is that, save it. Now, since it has not been able to connect to your database successfully, you have to go back over here and do one more thing. You can't just run your Rails server. By the way, S is short for server. You know, they couldn't be bothered to type out server. So we have to actually create our database from our configuration. This is how you do that. Rake db create. Okay. So we changed our config file to have our password in it, so that when we run rake db create, it goes and it reads that and says, oh, let me go create that for you now that I know where your MySQL instance is. Now that we've got our config file fixed and we've created our database, we can do this. And what port is it going to come up on? 3000. And now it says, what does that mean? Who can tell me what the problem is? Come on. I don't hear anybody. Somebody's already talking on that port, and we've learned that once you have something talking on a port, you can only have one. So, who's probably talking on the port? Probably this little thing, because it's running on port 3000. So, I'm going to go over here and Control-C. Yep, it was running. Now if we go back, try that again. And when you start looking at it, it's like, oh my goodness, what did I do? I broke the whole computer. No, it's not that bad. Just scroll up, find the error message, figure out what it's talking about, and voila. It's running. And let's see. I like MySQL better because you can actually see the data easily. I mean, if he has MySQL Workbench installed, you can open it up, and there's going to be a database or 2 databases it created for you. And any data we create from here on out, you're going to be able to look at those tables and those records.
Yeah, stay in this one.
It's all you. That was it. Yeah, I'll put it in Slack.
All right. So hopefully that gets everybody over the SQLite hurdles. And I'm actually going to get out of this because I I like the idea of using MySQL instead of SQLite, because last night I was actually having trouble with it myself. And that is the one. All right, so where were we? We just created it. We're going down on the various components, and actually I'm just going to speed things up a little bit. There's nothing really. There's a couple of things that I want to talk about, and then everything else is very. It should be very familiar and comfy. Let's see, and plus we're going to touch back on a lot of these files when we start adding things to our project. But this one right here is one that I definitely wanted to touch on. This is this gem file. It allows you to specify what gem dependencies are needed for this particular Rails application. Anybody can tell me what a gem is? Basically, like a NuGet package. It is a. What other concepts or synonyms or similarities?
Update.
Say it again.
NPM.
NPM. What is an NPM? Oh, yeah. It is. Yes, it's basically libraries that are freely available to you. It's other people's code that they just give to you, and it does a lot of cool stuff, and they neatly package it. That's one of the. I was just talking to Harper as we were driving over to our sales meeting, and it is. And he asked me to re-emphasize the point that I tried to make earlier, which is that's one of the biggest benefits of Ruby. That's one of the biggest advantages. That's one of the biggest drivers of its popularity, is all these people who are just in love with the language and are writing all these great gems that do half your job for you. Well, maybe early on, but there's a lot of good stuff out there, and it's continually growing, and all you have to do is just reference it here in this file, and now it's included in your app. It is.
Is there any quality control?
Yeah, they are. They are. The question was, is there any quality control since it's open source? And and Ali's answer was peer pressure, and that's not wrong. I mean, they are very. There's a group of, I think. Well, the number I saw, it's probably wrong, and Harper might know the actual number, but the number I saw was 4,700 developers who are kind of the core of it, and so they wouldn't let anything kind of stay out there too long. That was not up to par. But I'm sure it does happen, and I'm sure it has happened. But hopefully they catch it. They catch it fairly quickly, and I'm just going to ask Harper, because he's more up on this stuff, to drop a note in Slack if that information is outdated or is no longer correct. All right, so this is awesome. It doesn't do it's not doing anything. So that's yay! It created something really fast that we don't really know what to do with. Wrote a bunch of files and folders, and yeah. So where do we go from here? And well, for starters, let's go back to, or let's stop the server. Stop that server. Oh, mine is not. Well, mine is running somewhere else, isn't it? Yep, it's running right here. And let's create some. Let's create some controllers. Who can tell me what's a controller? Anybody? Any brave souls out there? It controls. That's a fairly simplified version of it.
Like an Angular controller?
Very similar. Blake? Emma? Okay, we're kind of cobbling it together. All right, Ellie. Oh no, Sasha, go ahead.
No, I was going to ask, isn't it on? It goes with the view model control thing. That's what you're talking about,
Yes.
right? So, like on a view of the index page, the control would be, I guess, the link to.
Page the control would be the.
To the view. It's a.
Well, what are those? Okay, I don't know if I have a good.
It's a class designed to respond to routes.
And the routes are, and actually you will see that in a second. But it's I think you were thinking about actions, and so okay. So let's do this. We're in the right place, and let's just type after me. Rails generate or Rails G controller.
Really, G is short for generate?
Because we can't be bothered to type
Well,
it out.
yeah, exactly. What? In what universe do you type out whole words and sentences? So Rails G controller, and this is going to be our welcome controller. Notice that it's capitalized. What other thing? What have you seen that was capitalized, if anything? Sorry. Yeah, first letter capitalized. But we have only seen one thing so far. Classes. So, all right. So if that looks like a class, and then we're gonna add. Let's see. Index. What else? What else do we need there? Let's do about contact. Yeah, no, it knows what you mean. The question was, do you not have to do them one at a time, or use something between them other than just a space? And the answer is no. So what else? This is Ruby. So all right. So that seems like. So anybody want to take a stab at what's happening there? So we're generating a controller.
We're creating a controller named welcome, which has index, about, and contact models.
No, not models. Those are actions.
Well,
No, the controller is the class. The controller is welcome. These are views. These are our actions on that controller.
Action.
Yep.
Otherwise, it is an action.
A method. That's right. That's right. The question was, what is an action? And the answer was a method. All right, so we're going to run this, and then we're going to see what it does for us. All right, so create a welcome controller. We saw that somewhere in our app, maybe. Whereas there was only one before, now there are two. And I'm sorry that I can't expand it because then I can really not see anything. But maybe this much. Okay. So yeah, now we have a new, other than just the original application controller. We now have a welcome controller, and on that welcome controller, whoa, wouldn't you know it? There are 3 actions or 3 methods that we named when we're generating it. Now this also created, oh wait, what on earth is that? Invoke, oh, wait, okay, so route, created a route as well. That one is going to be in config, and these are, there's really right now, or at least to date, we're only going to touch a handful of files, so you might as well just open them for good and leave them open. So on the top left corner, they stay there so that you don't have to navigate too much back and forth. But most of them are going to be under the app. A couple of, sorry?
How do you make them stay?
How do you make them stay? You double click on them and they, hold on. Let's see, where's routes right here. And maybe I'm the only one who's struggling with this because I had to blow this screen up so big that takes me an hour to get to it. So if you double click on it, in the open editors, it should stay up there. We'll see it in a second. But anyway, so it created routes for us. So it's already doing a lot of work. It automatically generated that class, generated the actions. Those actions, those methods, now have, under views, there's a whole new folder and within it, these three views that got generated for us. It invokes something called ERB, which I do not remember what the E stands for, but it's embedded Ruby. Yes. So you guys will see that in a second. It's the alligator brackets. It's Ruby's way to insert Ruby code in non-Ruby code. In this case, it's going to be our HTML. Let's see. It created. There are the three views that got created. Right here, then. Unit test. Harper was talking about it. I don't think that we're going to be able to get into it. That's a welcome control test. Yeah, I think those are the style sheets, JavaScript. Those are the ones that we really cared about. So we have liftoff. Now let's go first to here to routes. This is I mean, just going back to Angular again. This is plowing over fields that you guys should be familiar with. So what does it do? Somebody tell me while I start this Rails server up.
What is get?
No, it's in its simplest form.
It's a verb.
Yes. HTTP. Yes. All right. So we're gonna do. Sorry. Oh yeah. The question was, what is get on the route screen, and the answer, the eventual answer, the correct answer was that it's an HTTP verb. All right. So we're still localhost 3000. Nothing's happening here. Where's all that good stuff? Well, if you look here, let's take that. Oh, not the. Let's do that. Welcome index. So where did that come from? And plus, what a weird name is. When was the last time you had to type something like that into a browser? That is our view. Sorry, I'm getting lost in this. Here we go. Welcome index. So I don't think I need to get any deeper other than there's the which file defines it, but it's just very this is very clunky. This is not very nice. I mean, I don't want to type in welcome/index when I want to go to the home page of my screen. So that's where you would. Are they called aliases, or is it just custom URL? So you would well, first of all, you want to say that is the root. So you always go back to welcome. If you don't know where if it can't decide where you're trying to go, it will just take you to welcome index. But in terms of like contact, so that you don't have to type in welcome, contact us, you would just do a custom URL, which is going to be that, and then do this. You'll have to change that, and this should do the trick. Ali, jump in before I.
No, you're doing exactly right. But I wanted to Try to yell into your speaker too.
All right. Do yell into my speaker.
Think about the syntax. By now, on day one, you would have been scared by this. Hopefully, by now, you have a little bit of Stockholm syndrome, and you're just like, okay, whatever, guys. I know how much I'm going to get and how much I'm not going to get. He didn't explain any of that. What is the hashtag? And that, if you go back to your other code screen, we know it works. You see this hashtag on line 2 and on line 6, the hashtag? We've used ID in CSS, but this means something completely different. He didn't explain it at all, but you can infer. You see in the patterns. Hopefully you're starting to read the matrix now. What does the hashtag mean in this context? What is the purpose of this file? It's a router.
We're going to go to welcome index.
Welcome is a what? Controller. An index is a what on that controller?
Action. An action.
Yeah, it's like, I viscerally responded, it's like, no, it's not a view. You go to the view, but what is contact? Show the file.
It's a method.
It's a method.
Yeah, but I want you to see the file and see why I twitched probably. It's like, you go there to welcome controller. Def index. That's a method. It goes to a view magically. Why? He hasn't got there yet.
Because I just routed.
Well, it's by default, apparently. No. Where's the view? I don't see any view being returned.
No.
But we'll go there in a minute. Go back to your router. So, hashtag here means, oh, that's the syntax in Ruby's router file to say controller, method. What's the left-hand side on line 6? Or what he's doing on line 4? That's the path. That's your URL. Means this URL goes to here. That's all it's doing.
It's
Oh.
not a view.
So the lambda means it's the URL.
You don't have to have a view for an action.
All right. What did I miss? I missed. There we go. All right. So this, what is this going to do? First of all, if I do go back to localhost 3000, where am I going to go? I'm going to stay right here. But yes, home is correct. It's going to be, because they are all the same thing. This is the root, the default. Nope. What did I do? What did I do? Is it? Did I save it?
Yeah, make sure it's saved.
And then, yeah, all right, we're back there. Now if I
You typed
do,
in the path of welcome/index, and you remove that path.
I didn't type it in. I may have hit back
It was in
or
URL.
something. Yeah, I may have hit go back or something. All right, so if I wanted to go to, what did I call it? Drop us a line. Welcome contact. Okay, so you get it. But that's how you would define a custom URL, but you would still have to tell it, tell the app where to take somebody when you do that.
So how did you get to the view? You didn't write a line of code.
I did not write a line of code. Yes, I don't know if you. These hands were on the table the entire time. I did not write a line of code. Ruby. We looked at all the stuff that Rails generated for us, and right there were views. Now they are nothing to write home about just yet, but
How did it even get to the view?
Ruby can't do everything for us.
Go to your controller action. You didn't even say the word view. It just went there.
Oh, you mean in the controller? Yeah, I didn't do a thing.
There's nothing in there.
Well, we don't.
Convention over configuration.
Ah, there he is. Convention over configuration. So, well, that's how Ruby knows, or Rails knows how to do a lot of these things for you, is because kind of everybody agrees to use them the same way. All right. So the next thing we're going to create, now that we're done with the with routing, is this one is hooked up to a MySQL database, so I may have to ask Ali to come back here for a second because it's going to be cool, because I'm going to scaffold something real quick. Where?
Exactly the same. The last tab, just for 1 second.
Last tab, what is?
Yeah, the routes.
Route, I thought.
You don't need my help. It's the same thing.
Okay, thanks.
All right, so go back here, and actually I'm going to leave this running, so I'm just going to.
The hashtag is syntax that says action on this controller. On the left-hand side, you're talking path. So you're talking like URL path. On the right-hand side, it's where are you going? And it's not slashes over there. It's hashtag to say, I want to go to this method on this controller.
All right, so in case you missed it, I opened up another, so I don't have to stop my server, I opened up another terminal down here. Just use this plus sign right here, and it's going to give you a second one, and then you can keep track of them in this drop-down.
Will it automatically update?
You will have to save it first, but yes.
So it's like Angular.
Yeah, not quite as cool, but yeah. Because I think, well, you'd still have to save it in Angular.
Same thing, yeah.
Okay.
It has
Yeah,
a file
that is the
watcher
same
that
thing.
automatically refreshes if you change something.
All right. So let's make sure that I'm not giving you completely wrong information here. Let's do something cool. So Rails G scaffold, and actually that's not new either, is it? And I'm gonna let's see, bear. Well, it's bear for a reason, because we're gonna kill it. We're gonna make it and then we're gonna kill it.
You're in some danger, huh?
I know it's supposed to be beer. That's why we're killing it. So, what does it look like I'm doing?
You're creating the scaffold.
You're taking us to a brewery.
The scaffold has name, brewery,
What's another name for that? The scaffold.
I have no clue.
Well, we created a spike in our app already. So we created a bunch of code. What's left in a full stack app?
A model.
Database.
So what does that remind you of? Just a what? Speak up, people. Yes. It's yes. So we're essentially creating a table called it's supposed to be beer. I'm calling it bear because I'm going to show you what to do when you make a mistake. Because you do not want to make a mistake here. And then what are these? What is that right there? Columns. And then what are these? Types. All right, so that looks perfect. And then as soon as I hit enter, I'm like, oh no! I wanted to keep track of my brews, and now I'm doing bears. Well, actually, I can go ahead and kill it now, and then just come back to. Well, I'll come back. We'll look at the good stuff. So let's do Rails. Which one is destroy? Destroy. Where's destroy? Destroy. Yeah. Destroy. Scaffold. And actually, before I hit enter, Ali's right. This is a better time to look at it. So what happened here, and this is going to look very familiar from yesterday. Ta-da! What does that look like?
Date timestamp.
A
Migration.
migration. Ding, 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 ding. Yes.
Click on it and let's see what it did. Almost identical syntax.
Exactly. And it's relying on this active record thing, which is another very familiar subject. Active record is a gem. It's a built-in. What anybody do they want to make them guess? No, it does a
Bigger than
little bit more than that.
What is it?
It's
It's an ORM.
think bigger.
Active
built-in-
record is the ORM for Rails.
It's a built-in Rails ORM. And so, yes, so this is a migration file that was going to do the unthinkable, which is to create bear instead of beer. What, did you want to point out something before I murder it?
Just, I want to make sure that they understood what migrations were from yesterday.
Yeah, please, guys, raise your hands. Yes, go ahead.
No.
Oh, that's
What is that up at the top?
yeah. What is that? Yeah. What do you think that? What does that? We're talking about the less than sign on line 1. Class create bears. That's a new class, and it extends or how else would you put it? Inherits. Yes. So from active record, which is
That's how you say colon in Ruby.
that's another way to put it. All right. So okay.
I wanted to point out one other thing. You know, you learned migrations in C# yesterday. They stole it. They stole it. They won't even lie about it from Ruby. Ruby came up with the idea first.
So now we're gonna destroy that that scaffold because it was just wrong. And we're gonna do it right this time. And then we're gonna have a little fun with a new. Oh shoot! Sorry. You see, one day of Ruby, and I'm already too lazy to type out a single sentence to scaffold this table. That's an excellent question because I will be ready for a beer after class. There is no doubt about that one. All right, so what happened here? Let's look. Somebody, while I'm scrolling up here and while everybody's catching up, what do you remember about migrations from yesterday? Other than the weird naming convention, which actually is super handy. What do you remember about just the general idea, the benefits of? Speak up, guys. There's only like 2 days of this left, and then it's project time. So, what said?
Migrating your tables from one database to another one.
You have to
Schema.
create a
Yeah.
database make so you can work on it, have a completely separate data entity, so none of the data gets copied over either, and make it so you can work on it, model with it, play with it without destroying it.
Yes, and so and you can roll it back. So, oh, I'm sorry, I can't repeat it. That was too long. All right, Harper, it was the right answer. Just give it to me. Let's see. All right, so okay, we see all the things that happened here. Whoa! What happened there? So it gave us a view, and what? It's creating all kinds of things that we just added a table, right? So what's up with? Oh no, wait. I'm in the remove. So what is up with all this other stuff? Well, I guess I'm not. It's so difficult to navigate this thing. Sorry, because it's so blown up. So I'm just gonna go straight. I'm just gonna go straight to beers. No. What did I do wrong?
What does pending migration error sound like you need to do?
My goodness! That's actually, I had it in my notes to like remind everybody in a subtle way, or have them come up with it, but to go to actually have it in my notes to actually go to this error. But I did not anticipate to legit forget to do what I did forget to do, which is
Open your database.
no.
You need a route.
No.
Connect to it.
No. What is migrations? Yesterday. What do you have to do with it? Actually run it, exactly. Yes, so going back here, we are going to do, let's see. Nope, wait.
Not Rails.
It's Ruby.
No.
No. What is it? Hold on. I'm getting there. See how often I do it?
It's how did we create the database? What's the utility that does our database dirty work? It's in the Slack channel.
Wait, am I?
Break, R-A-K-E.
I
Break DB colon migrate.
is that because of MySQL or?
I don't know. I think SQLite does a lot of things for you, but
There's DB.
in a real database, that's
Rails DB migrate should. So you're saying that this won't work?
That looks like it works.
It do.
It's probably calling.
You can even with this, you have options. That's crazy. Yes, I know what you mean. I know what you're trying to do. I'll just go ahead and do it for you. All right, so let's go back to this browser and prepare to have your minds blown. Okay, your mind's not blown yet. How about now? Let's do. Yeah, no, I didn't write any code. That's. How's about? Let's see.
Did you set a record successfully? You didn't write a line of code?
I did not, and I didn't write a line of code, and I have a place where I can just add records. I can go back. I can go edit them. I can destroy it. Sure, I know what I'm doing. Yeah, I did not write a line of code. Rails just did it all for me. And so yeah, and you guys have been. And we've been putting you guys through the ringer, writing all this stuff, putting forms together.
What did you type into your browser?
I just went to beers. Local. You remember what the table was called? Oh, that's another convention. So I did not call my table beers. I called it beer, and then Rails, it's very good about, well, it's good and bad. So you have to be careful about how you name things, because it will do a lot of work for you if you do it right, if you do them right. If you don't, then it will start guessing, or it will just start doing it. I don't know what happens when you go off the rails. Ha! Is coincidence? Coincidence? I think not. Anyway, so yeah, we just went to beers. Okay, a couple of people. Hopefully most people are here with me.
So you didn't type in none of that, like big Bud Ultra?
No. That's from. This is just cache. So I did when I was testing it yesterday.
Oh, okay.
I did those. So what is this Budweiser? I hope that's how it's spelled. And let's see, it I don't know how much is a bud.
$8.99.
A single bud? Surely it is not. 209. There we go. Now we created a beer. We're just gonna create a bunch of beers. So just go to town, create a bunch of beers, just so we have stuff to play with. Let's see. I have no idea how to spell Michelob.
M-I-C-H-E-L-O-B.
There's no K.
M-I-C-H-E-L-O-B.
No E at the end.
No E at the end. Michelob. All right, thank you. And even though, that's the beer I've been drinking, or as Ali calls it, the water that I've been drinking for the past several months. So it's not that I. PBR. Let's do PBR. Good old PBR. Oh wait, yeah. Did you see that? I can go back in, edit, update, show what I just did. Go back. This is none of this. None of this did I write. And we'll go back we'll go back to the thing in a minute. But let's see. Oh, that's right. This one is hooked up to MySQL, isn't it?
No, you undid it.
I undid it?
Yeah, you got out of it and you went back into the one that's with Ruby.
No, this is Ruby for MySQL. It should be MySQL Workbench. Let's see. PBR. I'm assuming the brewery is PBR. It doesn't really matter. Pabst? Is that
Blue Ribbon?
B? Pabst.
Yeah, so
All right. We're going to create a couple more just so we have stuff to play around with. It's like, I don't know. This is probably like. Oh yeah, I should have been more careful about actually thinking back on it, trying to put in. So let's do because when we're going to mess around with the data, it would actually help if some of it corresponded with real life. So we're going to need a couple of beers that have the same brewery, a couple of beers that have the same price. So try to do it as you're putting stuff in. I don't know if is anybody. You want this is probably enough, but you do want a few of them in there, just so. Okay, let's do a Miller, and. All right. So I mean, I'm a little. You all seem a little underwhelmed here. This is good. This is a lot of good stuff that just happened for us. I mean, how much work would have gone into that before? A lot. Now let's see. How are we going to pull it up? Let's look at it. Let's look at it in the. In code right here. So we had the migration file. It's still there because we want to remember it. We want to each migration is going to create that separate file, and it's going to you're going to be able to track it. Views. Yeah, there's some new stuff under models and views. We're going to go back out. So before first we had the layouts, which is just general stuff. Then we had we created those three pages with the welcome controller, and now we have beers. Why is it not opening for me? System error occurred, no such file or directory. Oh, that's bears, sorry. That's still bears. Oh, this is strange. Let's see. All right. Why is my bear still there?